Hey YouTube, Kira Qualia here, bringing you all my Cardfight Vanguard Silver Thorn Pale Moon deck profile for post Butterfly to Moonlight. This is the latest of the new decks I wanted to build from the Butterfly to Moonlight booster set. A very interesting deck focusing on the Silver Thorns and the new Venus Luquier that we received in the set. It's a really awesome set with powerful support. I basically wanted to show what I have for the deck profile at the moment because a lot of the cards in the Luquier deck are definitely expensive. So doing the deck profile a bit incomplete, just showing what I have substitute in for the Luquier deck until I get the remaining cards for it as a whole, and just show the overall playstyle you do with all the different Silver Thorns we have for the deck. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So for the grade 3s, I am running 4, or potentially do want to run 4, of the Silverthorn Dragon Empress Venus Luquier with this one on Vanguard Circle. During your turn, if you, of all your front row circles, have units, all of your front row units get plus 5,000. And so it's basically your pressure to go with your Imaginary Gift Excel circles, giving that plus 5 to all your different units so they can hit a good amount of power units on the field. And on Vanguard, once per turn, counterblast 1 and discard a card from your hand. Call any number of cards with Silverthorn in the card name from your soul to the front row rear guard. At the end of that turn, you have 4 or more rear guards, and you put all your rear guards into your soul and get an Imaginary Gift Excel. So with this, you can keep building up your Imaginary Gift Excel circles using your Venus Luquier, being able to basically have that set up to go for with this card, calling out a bunch of different units on the field to use while also, benefiting from the power unit. This is your go-to Vanguard with all of your plays. So relying on this as your potential ride target that you want most of the time is definitely what you want to go for with this deck and your setup. There's really no benefit to the additional grade 3. You can just basically build up soul with constantly riding different grade 3s for your play setup. So just being able to rely on this as the stronger setup for more Imaginary Gift Excel circles as well, with the 4 more rear guards, and put all your rear guards into your soul to protect them again and then call them out next turn so they're not retired or locked or taken care of by your opponent also. And then for the backup grade 3, still want to run the original Silverthorn Dragon Tamer Luquier. With this one, you basically, on Vanguard or rear, during your turn, if you call 2 or more cards from your soul this turn, this unit gets plus 10,000 power. And with this card, also on Vanguard Circle, once per turn, counterblast 2 and discard a card from your hand. Call any number of cards with Silverthorn and its card name from your soul to rear, and all of your front row rear guards get plus 3,000 until end of turn. So you can call them to any rear guard with this version of Luquier. You just have the option with more cards to call out with Venus than you do the original Silverthorn Dragon Tamer. And then just the overall setup with this card gives you, power to this unit while you have your setup for plus 3,000 as well for your rear guards in the front row. You just have a better setup with Venus to do more of a pressure against your opponent, but still having this as a backup unit basically means you can then, ride this card on your Vanguard Circle and then ride Venus and then call it out using Venus and have the additional rear guard during your turn if you call 2 or more cards, giving this card plus 10,000 power on rear guard as well. And if you have multiples of this card in the soul, it just makes it that much better for your setup as well. And then for the last of the grade 3s, we are just allowed to run the 1 because of the irregular list. Silverthorn Beast Tamer Dorian on Vanguard or rear at the end of your turn. Put all of your other rear guards into your soul and draw a card for every 2 cards put into your soul with this cost. If you put 4 or more cards, return a grade 3 with Silverthorn and its card name from your soul to your hand and retire this unit on rear guard. So with this was just an amazing go-to card for setup in this deck, giving you draw power for guard restriction, just being able to rely on this card for your hand power. Well, you could fully invest your hand and soul into the field for your plays, getting draw power and protecting all of your cards using this card. And the fact that it worked on Vanguard or rear was that much stronger for this setup. So they definitely had to hit it 1, but we still got to run the 1 copy. It just comes in very handy since this card basically works on Vanguard or rear for that setup. So when you can make this card your potential go-to target, you have more and more draw power to rely on using it also. And that is it for the grade 3s. We'll now move on to the grade 2s, I run 4 Silver Thorn, Marionette, Lilianne. On Vanguard or Rear, when placed from hand, counter +1. Search your deck for up to 1 card with Silver Thorn in its card name, put it into your soul, and shuffle your deck. So just potentially being able to grab whichever card you need for any of your plays with this card makes this card very, very strong for all of your different setup in the deck. Being able to rely on it for that ride target as well, being a 9K, it's not as strong as some of the other ride targets we have in some of the decks like Imaginary Gift Force, but still great for the setup on Vanguard or Rear when you ride this card, being able to then set it up for your go-to plays. And on Rearguard, when attack hits a Vanguard, if your soul has 4 more cards with Silverthorn and their different card names, this unit gets plus 10,000 until end of battle. So along with the original Lukier being able to have the power boost on Rear when calling units, having more of the soul setup that you can use this card also for to have the basic setup on the field means you'll have more power plays to rely on with this card also in the deck. So it's definitely why I like to run 4 of it for that lineup. For our newest Silverthorn in the deck, I only have the one still. Like I said, still putting the deck together, but I still wanted to get this deck profile out as soon as possible for all of you. I run 4 Silverthorn Diva Selvia on Vanguard or Rear when placed. Counter +1. Choose up to 2 cards with Silverthorn in their card name, not named Silverthorn Diva Selvia, from your soul and call them to Rear. So this is just a go-to setup card for more and more cards from your soul. So the more cards you have built up in your soul with this card, the better choices you have for cards to call out and then basically have that setup. If you call cards like Lilianne, you won't be able to get their effects, abilities because of the setup on Rear and having it have to be placed from hand, but you'll still be able to get more and more cards out of the field for just a counterblast and having plenty of Silverthorns to go for as well. So you definitely want 4 of this for that easy setup, along with Lilianne being a Vanguard or Rear guard ability. You can have 2 potential ride targets that definitely will come in handy for your setup. And then lastly, for the grade 2s, I run the 3 Silverthorn Rising Dragon. If you call 2 or more cards from your soul this turn, this unit gets plus 10,000 power. Now, additionally, we have the Excel circles to call rear guards too. So if you have Lukier on the one and Lilianne on the other with their plus 10,000 power each, if you can call Rising Dragon to another rear guard circle, the Excel circle at that, whether it's Imaginary Excel 2, you'll still have the plus 5,000 power and the plus 10 if this card is set up and you called other cards, which you definitely will do with this deck and your setup on the field to use. I only run the 3 of it though. Selvia and Lilianne are more of the setup for cards calling out to the field. So as long as you have Rising Dragon in your soul, you can place them back into the soul with your grade 3 setup and then just have that power to go off of with this card also. And that is it for the grade 2s. We'll now move on to the grade 1s. I run 4 Silverthorn Assistant Irina. On Rearguard, when placed from hand, look at 2 cards from the top of your deck, put up to 1 card from among them into your soul, and put 1 card from among them on the bottom of your deck. This definitely does, bring back memories for the original Irina, which had a very similar effect. And when wrote upon, look at 3 cards from the top of your deck, put any number of cards with Silverthorn and their card name from among them into your soul, and put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. If you put 2 or more cards into your soul, draw a card. So once again, you need plenty of soul for a bunch of different cards to set up for in this deck. So having 4 Irina in the deck for that setup makes it that much better as a ride target when wrote upon, putting this card in the soul as well and giving you more and more cards to place into the soul for your plays to go into. And having that option with its rear guard ability as well means if you have multiples of this card, you can just keep on setting up all those different plays to use as well. And I also run 4 Silverthorn Breathing Dragon. With this one, at the end of the battle, boosted. If your soul has 4 more cards with Silverthorn in their different names, counter +1, and put 1 or more rear guards with Silverthorn its card name into that unit that boosted into the soul, and call a card with Silverthorn its card name from your soul to rear. So this is more of a combo play card that you can get multiple attacks off with the setup you have going up against your opponent. Being able to rely on the different amounts of Silverthorns we're playing in the deck also means that we can use Breathing Dragon for that setup altogether for a lot of different combo plays altogether for your go-to grade 1s. It only is a rear guard ability, but when you can get those combos going, it definitely will pay off in the long run. For the new grade 1, I also want to run 4 Silverthorn Handle Grip Linea. On Vanguard or Rear, when attack or boosts, Soul Charge 1, and it gets plus 5,000 until end of turn, being another great ride target if you don't have Irina. With this card, just being able to have a Soul Charge plus 5,000 power power means you can hit for pretty big numbers that your opponent will definitely have to try guarding against. And if you boost with cards like Irina, and this card having that plus 5,000 power is that much more pressure of your opponent having to put down cards, and you potentially getting other cards for them to go up against that they may not have to use. And also, I have the 2 of the Soul Barrette Roulette as just an added option to fill in, because the one card I did not have for the deck, which is just a rare, just couldn't find any, and that is Silverthorn Conjurer Rami. It is a grade 1 setup. You rest the unit, put it into your soul, and look at 3 cards on the top of your deck. Put any number of cards with Silverthorn from among them into your soul, and put the rest on the bottom of the deck in any order. This is just another soul charge, build up, draw power, normal order that you can run to fill in if you don't have Rami, just as an added option for any of the spots if you do have Rami and you're missing any of the other cards in the deck, just for that draw power for your normal orders, relying on the soul charge and having the same names, which you can easily get with this deck since we're running multiples of plenty of cards for that soul charge and drawing an additional card. And that is it for the grade 1s and the normal order setup. We'll now move on to the grade 0. Your starter being a Silverthorn definitely does come in handy, being Silverthorn Assistant Ionella. When wrote upon, draw a card, then if your opponent's Vanguard is grade 1 or greater, put a quick shield ticket into your hand. So you definitely want to rely on this for the fact that it's just another Silverthorn to call from the soul as well. And the quick shield is the generic effect that is shared upon all the different cards in the game now for your starters. And then for the trigger lineup, I'm running the 4 Silverthorn, Barking Dragon being another Silverthorn. If you really do have to call another card out that you soul charge, I wanted to run a full amount of different Silverthorns in the lineup for the triggers as well. That's why I'm also running 4 Silverthorn, Beast Tamer Surge with the heavy amount of rear guards we could have. Being able to boost them all up with the front trigger makes it that much better of a card to use, and it's a Silverthorn, so remember that also. For the Sentinel, I decided to go with Hades Hypnotist being a good option just so you have the guaranteed guard against your opponent. Since this isn't Imaginary Gift Protect, it's Excel. We need that draw power and protection against some pretty pressure-worthy attacks for sure in the deck. And lastly, for the heals, just the Tender Breeder. There isn't a Silverthorn hero out in standard format, but making do with one that definitely looks the most similar to what we can run in the deck for sure. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoy the video. Definitely a fun deck. I'm hoping to build a bunch of other cards set up in this set for Dark Irregulars, Murakumo, and also potentially Granblue and Harry for the other Pale Moon deck we have. We'll see how that goes later on in the future, but also hoping to finish, fully building Lukier as well for Silverthorns. But until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Qualia out.